up, beautiful jellyfish? It's Tracy. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. Today we're going to be talking about Shadows over Innistrad spoilers. I have done, like, overviews for all the other colors. Today we're going to be talking about multicolored, a couple of artifacts, and some lands in this set. So, yeah, I have a whole playlist for Shadows over Innistrad. I probably should have said that, but I do. So you can check out, like, all of the colors, basically, and, like, see, like, what cards, you know, I think are going to be pretty sweet in the set. So, yeah, I'm not going to be talking about all cards because it would take a long time, and I feel like we can make like really solid judgments from the cards, but we haven't yet played with them, so I think it's pretty difficult for some things to determine how good cards are going to work. So let's get started. We're going to be talking about multicolored cards first. First card we're going to be talking about is Arlene Cord. Okay, so like, I really think this card is awesome and sweet, and I really want to run in EDH in my not the EDH deck, because I feel like this card is just really awesome. So, first off, 4 mana, starts off with 3 loyalty, pretty okay. You get to uptick 1, and, you know, you put in something big and scary, or something, or, you know, something that you want to attack with. It gets a buff of +2/+2, sweet, and then it gains Vigilance, and it gains Haste. Okay, so that's really, really awesome. I like that ability a lot. On top, okay, then transforming her is pretty easy, because you can do it immediately, which I really like. So, you get the chance to transform it, and on top of transforming it, you get a 2/2 wolf. Like, yeah, hi, I like that. Blockers for her seems good. So, you get to put a wolf on, okay, and then you transform her. So then, you get this overall effect of creatures you control get +1/+1, and gain trample. Yeah, I like that. I think that sounds amazing. I'm a fan of that. And then her minus, she deals 3 damage to target creature or player. Yeah, lightning bolt on a stick, and then you would re-transform her. Yeah, yes. And then her ult. You get an emblem. Yes. With creatures you control have haste, and tap, this target creature deals damage to target creature or player. Like, if you get her ult off, I feel like they just lose. Like, I just don't understand how they can win after you get her ult off. This card, like, what I love about her so much is that all of her abilities, I think, are really amazing. Like, a lot of times, people will be like, oh, with Planeswalkers, I feel like some abilities are relevant and some are not. And I feel like I like every single one of these abilities, like, a lot. I think they're all very relevant. I think they're going to be insane in a draft pre-release environment. I feel like if you get her, like, 1200%, like, she's a card that you would definitely splash for. Like, this set is leaning, and we'll talk about this in a bit, but it's leaning more heavy on, 2 color combinations, but I feel like if you get her and say you're in like red-white, you splash green for her because she's just so incredible. And it's very easy, like I said, to transform her, so it's really, I think one of the all-star best cards in the set. I'm really looking forward to her. I think she's amazing. Alright, now we're going to be talking about Nahiri, the Harbinger. Okay, so we got 4 mana for 4 loyalty Planeswalkers. You get to discard a card for her plus, and then draw a card, which I really like. Definitely a very, like, typical red thing that we would expect to see. She goes up to 6 loyalty. Okay, sweet. I like it, and I especially like it in Delirium, because, I'm finding a lot with it that I feel like there's going to be some things that are pretty hard to get off with Delirium, and, like, things in your graveyard. Like, I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like there's going to be, like, difficulty getting, like, lands in, and, like, enchantments, I feel like, especially, that's why, like, the vessels are pretty okay. I don't know, I just feel like that's just, it's gonna be, like, kind of a difficult thing, but, she does that, and the fact that it's just card advantage, you know, you get to discard a card, and then you get to draw a card, seems really sweet. Her minus is insane. You get to exile an enchantment, an artifact that's tapped, or a tapped creature. You just say nah and you exile it. Like, she's really good on the defensive. You just really need to deal with your opponent's board and they have attacked with something big. You get to exile it, not even just destroy, so it just doesn't even care about indestructible. And then her minus is, and then her other minus is just, like, okay, it's cool. I'll just search for an artifact or a creature. It's probably going to be a creature. Then you get to put it onto the battlefields. I mean, yeah. And then, you know, it gains haste, and then it bounces back to your hand? What? This card is so dumb. This card is so sweet. Like, Nahiri's awesome. She's just, like, she does a lot of really awesome relevant things. Again, similarly to Arlene, like, she has a lot of really awesome abilities. And the fact that, like, I don't know, she's just all around really amazing. And just another card that I would definitely splash for, because she's so sweet. Oh, man. Planeswalkers in the set are, like, really awesome. Speaking of Planeswalkers, Sorin. Okay. So his +1 is, like, okay, I get to reveal something, and then, yeah, my opponent loses life. Seems sweet. Kind of sort of reminds me a little bit of one of my all-time favorite cards, which is, Keranos, there you go, God of Storms. I don't know, it reminds me a little bit of it because, like, every turn you reveal the card and then if it's a non-land, you do 3 damage to them, or creature or player, which is really sweet. But yeah, you basically are just like, okay, cool, I'm gonna, like, reveal the top card and then you're gonna lose 5 life or whatever, something like that. Just really, really sweet, definitely a really relevant ability. And then his -X, you know, you deal X damage to creature or planeswalker, which is really cool if you are having a hard time getting rid of something. This is a really good removal for it. And then on top of that, you get to gain X life, which is really sweet. Okay, and then his -9. You get to put, 1/1 black vampire knight creature tokens with lifelink. Yeah. Onto the battlefield, equal to the highest life total amongst all players. So you're playing this in a black-white build, gain life, Sorin, just absolutely amazing. If you pull any of the 3 planeswalkers, they're just so, so good in this set. I'm looking forward to them a lot. Sweet. Then we have Olivia, mobilized for war. Olivia has just some of my, like, favorite art, like, her original art, which was it in Avacyn Restored? I think it was in Avacyn Restored. Maybe it was Innistrad, I don't remember. It's just really, really sweet. So, okay, we know how much Tracy likes flyers. 3 mana for a 3/3 flyer, already, I'm all over it. I just love it. Okay, and then whenever another creature ETBs, you can discard something. Hey, Delirium, sounds sweet. And then you get to put a +1/+1 counter on that creature. Okay, cool, I like it. And then it gains haste. What? What? This is so good. Olivia's just really, really amazing. I like her a lot. Alright, now we talk about Sigarda. Okay. 5 mana for a 4/5 flyer. Sweet. You get hexproof? Yeah. And human creatures you control are on that human tribal? Yeah, seems great. Okay, and then you get to exile a card from your graveyard, and you get to put a creature token into play. If you're like, you're not doing that Delirium strategy or whatever, and you just don't even care, you got a bunch of things in your graveyard, you land her late game, you've got nothing else to do with your mana. There's, like, something I really like about this set, is that I feel like there's a lot of really, like, cheap stuff in the early game, whereas a lot of people complained about the last block that there wasn't a lot of cheap stuff, so, like, you'd, you know, top deck, like, a 2 mana whatever, like, late game, and it'd just be so useless. But, like, this set is really sweet, and, like, a lot of the things that you do late game, what I really like about it is that you have, like, options. So, like, you can do this and just do it, like, when you only have, like, 6 mana on board. But, like, if it's the late game and you have, like, 10 or, like, something like that, you know, like, it's just, you have options with your mana. I really, really like that about this set. I just think the set is very, like, it seems to be very well balanced in terms of, like, your mana curve. So, I don't know, I think that's really sweet. Okay, then we have, Anguish Unmaking. So, first off, it's instant speed removal for 3 mana, and it's exile. That's amazing. It's target non-land permanent, so you can deal with anything. They have a really threatening enchant. Can't think of really. Yeah, there's a couple of threatening enchantments. Enchantments, artifacts, creatures, planeswalkers. This card deals with it. On top of that, you lose 3 life, which is not super amazing. However, if you're in that white-black strategy, that's probably really not going to matter. The fact that this is removal, and probably some of the best removal in the set, this card is really, really good. Okay, cool. So now that was it for the multicolored cards that I want to talk about. Now, we're going to segue into the artifacts, and I said this before in a couple of videos, I'm usually not a huge fan of artifacts in like, draft pre-release environments. I just feel like a lot of times they don't really do anything. I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of the times they're just like a waste of a card, and I feel like you could just be running such better things. But these are 2 artifacts that I really wanted to talk about. And the first is Runaway Carriage. This is one that decently impressed me, and the reason why it impressed me was because it counts as an artifact and as a creature for Delirium, which is really, really sweet, so if you're on that strategy. On top of that, it's a 5/6 trample, and you get to sacrifice it, so it's going to be going to the graveyard, which is really, really sweet. It's a really solid blocker if you need something to block with, or it's a really solid attacker if you want to get in for some points of damage. And the fact that, you know, it's going to go to the graveyard unless they, like, exile it or something like that. And then getting Delirium off of this card is, like, really sweet, so I think this card's pretty okay. And someone's actually talking about in the comics, if you if you flicker it, that, like, it'll get that ability. That's so sweet. If you flicker it before combat, that's really awesome. I am a huge fan of that. Okay, cool. Okay, sweet. Then we have, Wild Field Scarecrow. So this is a really solid card because, for two reasons. One, it's mana ramp. You know, like, I keep thinking about, Burnished Heart, and, like, Burnished Heart's one of my favorites. And that's a 2/2 for 3, and then for 3 you sack it and you get 2 basic lands to the battlefield tapped. And this is a little bit weaker because it's 5 mana to do it, and you get them only to your hands. But the fact that it's a 1/4, so it's got a pretty nice body, so it's, you know, gonna, like, be able to defend some things, and you can, like, you know, block and then sack it in response, which is really good. And it's just mana ramp, and again, you're gonna get it off for Delirium, which is really good, because I feel like, in my opinion, since a lot of the artifacts are weak, I don't feel like a good portion of them are, you know, have purposes in running, so, yeah. Okay, now we're going to be talking about lands in this set. So, pretty much, one thing I'm a huge fan of with, the dual lands and things like that is, a lot of times what'll happen is, like, someone will open it as their rare, and it'll end up just going around the table because, like, no one else is in that colors but you, or something like that. So, that's, like, a really awesome thing I feel about, dual lands a lot of times, is that they're pretty, like, you have a good chance of getting them, compared to something like Evolving Wilds or something like that. Like, everyone wants Evolving Wilds in their deck, because it's just really good. But, so then we have these weird lands. I don't know what they're called. Someone was talking about Clue lands in the comments, which is pretty funny. But it's a card like a Port Town, which is basically like a, I'm trying to think. It's like a weird version of Buddy Lands from Original Innistrad. I think those were from Original Innistrad, if I'm remembering. But basically, you know, you gotta reveal a what or a something, and then if you do, it doesn't come in tapped. Yeah, these are really good. I think these are really solid mana ramps. There's also really not that much, like, colorless like mana and stuff like that in this set, like, whereas the last block had quite a bit. So, like, you know, the chance of you having this in your hand along with, like, a basic land is probably going to be pretty high. So, yeah, it's definitely a really sweet land, and I think I'm looking forward to them. And then we have the come in tapped lands. I really don't know if these have a name as well. It's the card like Stone Quarry, which is basically like it enters the battlefield tapped. It's just a guild gate, like, it's just, you know, again, it's just color fixing, and it is really important. If you can get your hands on these, you like definitely work on them if they're floating around the table. Okay, and then we have, I'm gonna save the best for last, actually, because I think that card's sweet. Okay, then we have, Warped Landscape, and this is a really, really good card because it's, like, you're gonna get land in for Delirium. This is definitely something that I would look out for. So, what I really like about this is that first off, it taps for mana, which I really, really like. So it taps for mana, so you can stick it around for a while, and then when you need to get colors, and you need to get Delirium, and, like, whatever, you can sack it, you're gonna get a land. It's common, card all around really good. I would definitely look out for it, to fix your mana, basically, and thin through your deck. And then we have one of, like, my favorite weird cards in the set, I think, and that is, Westvale Abbey. So, like, I just think this card is so, like, funny. Because, like, first off, it taps for mana, which, you know, it doesn't come in tapped or anything like that, which is pretty okay. And then you pay 5, and then you get to pay a life, and you get a token if you need it. It's an attacker, it's a blocker, or it's relevant for the next ability, in which you sack 5 creatures, and then you transform it. And then you're left with a 9/7 Flying Lifelink Indestructible Haste. What? This card is so weird. Like, I really like it, but it's so weird. Like, a land that flips into a creature that's got all of these relevant, crazy abilities. Like, I think if you transform this, I'm pretty sure you just win, probably. Yeah, I mean, this card is just really, really insane. Yeah. And what I like about it, too, is that, like, you can sack any 5 creatures that you have. And this card has a lot of little creatures, so definitely something to look out for. Alright, cool, guys. That was it. That was it for talking about, some lands, some artifacts, and some multicolored stuff. Let me know how you guys do in the pre-release. I'm going to be going to 2 pre-releases this weekend. I'm really looking forward to it. Let me know how you guys do, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.